Well, we are back with the Seraphine podcast, and I'm Seraphine, and this is episode 6 that we're on, reviewing of Bridgerton. It's on Netflix. It's a great show filled with beautiful people, sexy people, lots of sex, and inaccurate historical content. But we like watching it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm here with Auburn. Hello, lady.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Chelsea.
Hi.
And Giovanna.
Hello, hello.
And I want to give a little shout out to the Wealthy Company. We think you guys are amazing. We had a chance to meet this Black-owned company out in Florida during the Super Bowl. They were very generous. They gave us some amazing stuff. And the most wealthy of us, all of heart and spirit, is this woman across the way, Miss Dr. Auburn. Thank you for representing this company.
Of course.
I love this company. They are sweet frickin' guys, and I am rooting for them, and so are a lot of other people. So as we get into the podcast, let's talk about who we're rooting for in this episode. I am rooting for Marina.
Yeah, same.
I'm frickin' rooting for Marina in more ways than one. I think Marina's in a tough situation. Obviously, we know that she's pregnant, and she's trying to be married off very quickly because everyone knows that she's pregnant in her small little judgy family. Mm-hmm. And Colin, the third brother, I believe,
Yeah.
it's the third brother, falls in love with her. Mm-hmm. And is just like, yes, I am going to marry this girl. And he announces that he wants to do this.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation, though.
His mom doesn't even know. Anthony comes up to her, the oldest brother, and is like, did you know this is going to happen? She goes, smile, honey, people are watching.
Yeah. Oh, God. Graceful.
Always about optics.
But you know what I love about Colin? I love that he has a mind of his own.
Yep.
He does what he wants to do, and he's like, he doesn't care what people think, and I love that about him. I think it's super admirable.
Yeah. He's a little cutie.
He's adorable. He's very innocent, but
Yeah, I want to squeeze his little
it's a
cheeks.
cute spirit.
He's very innocent and green. Someone calls him green in this. I think it was Anthony. It's like, I should have taken you to a brothel and showed you
let
don't.
you slept with more hoes.
Yeah,
right?
you don't
Basically, is
you
what
don't
his
just
brother
propose to the
says.
first woman you meet. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to take your advice. You're single still.
Right.
So.
And sleeping with a woman of the night.
Yes, which I love. I just like that he has his own mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he can speak. He is not scared, and he's going to do what he wants. That's all I have to say about that.
I totally agree with you. I think speaking of wealthy, Penelope is a part of a family that's trying so hard to show that they're wealthy.
Yeah.
And they are, they're at a deficit. I have to say, she's not surrounded by a family that I feel is wealthy of heart and spirit. She's the only one, in my opinion.
Well, that's the only reason Marina is there. To do a debt, to complete a debt for the dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to watch this well-doing. We see Penelope trying to help Marina out
Yeah.
by investigating where her baby daddy really is.
Yeah.
It's an interesting storyline because Penelope is in love with Colin. So there's a little bit of, she's getting something out of doing this investigation for
Ulterior
Marina.
motive.
Total ulterior motive because she wants to be with Colin.
Mm-hmm.
There's an interesting exchange. I say interesting. This is probably the 50th time I've said it.
We
Ding,
should
ding,
just,
ding.
drink every time.
I know.
Have a bottle next time.
I'm telling you that we do. We need to have. we have to have a collagen water sip every
Like
time.
Real House.
So we have this moment where Penelope says to Marina, "Not Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Please, not Colin. You can have any of these guys." And Marina goes, "Excuse me. Am I supposed to be with a bad guy because I'm with a child? Why can't I be with a good guy?" Mm-hmm. And Penelope says, "Well, he needs to know."
Yeah.
Really, like, lots of layers there. But we'll look at just the top layer of it, of simply it being two women who are in tough positions. I mean, nobody likes being in love with someone that doesn't love them back.
Yeah.
And Penelope has been the victim of so many isms. Just, her being a little bit overweight than everyone else and not as pretty, like blemishes on her face and people kind of talking about that. So she's already had it really rough, and I've been rooting for her for that reason alone. But then you can't help but root for Marina because she has so many other issues happening.
Yeah.
So, and Penelope is kind of naive to just the world and decisions that women have to make that are difficult.
Yeah.
It's funny what we can justify as friends, and even in our own, because we want to be an advocate for ourselves and what we want in our life, but then what we'll put at risk with our friendships, like, and put our friends in strange positions. So this episode also interweaves into lots of sex. I mean, this is like so much sex that it made me feel like I needed to have more sex. I mean, my God.
It is. Yeah, that's a good way to put this episode.
I mean, episode 5 ends with this amazing sex scene, but then episode 6, it's just like multiple
They're in their
orgasms.
honeymoon phase.
Yeah, literally.
It's full honeymoon.
Yeah. But also kind of awkward because his behavior at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before that, it's like they just like you can just feel.
Or do you mean at the end of sex?
At the end of sex.
At the end of sex.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant
his
Yeah, no, no, no.
exit.
Climax.
Okay, I thought you meant the end of the episode.
Post-climax
His
behavior.
exit of the
is
body.
anything but hot.
I mean, it's so interesting because I've never in my life had a conversation where I've asked a guy, like, is it really that painful? Where,
Right, like-
I mean, come on. He literally looks like he got shot in the penis.
He's trying so hard to not enjoy himself. You know how much control that takes?
It's almost comical. I kind of would love to see a slow motion reel of the actor because he's a good looking dude to see like how his face contorts. He's like, I mean, and then her
that might
face
make
is
a
like,
great meme.
I mean, sorry. It's in comparison to the way they make love, especially in the rain.
Yeah.
And then they move into this new mansion. And of course you have, the staff that's like, oh, here's the new girl taking over. And living up to this person that was his mother. Mm-hmm. Do you have any women in your life that you feel like you're like, wow, those are big shoes to fill?
I think if it ever came to being a mother in my lifetime, that's how I look at my mom. Like, I just texted her this like 2 days ago. I don't know how that woman did everything she did. Like, everything for us.
Yeah.
And my dad, and like, I mean, obviously my dad, is working his ass off so that we could have, our lives. And my mom, I don't understand how she had breakfast, had lunch, had dinner, had our uniforms cleaned by the next day for the next game, and had all these freaking snacks for all of the team, and still like had time for herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like that.
I'm like,
because now I come home, I work a full day. I don't even want to do dishes.
I don't
cook
even.
a meal.
I don't want to
I
put
don't
my
have
dishes
kids.
away.
I don't want to do any of that shit.
Exactly. Like, I'll just like look at my laundry and I'm like, meh, tomorrow sounds
Maybe
good.
next time.
Like, I mean, honestly, like if I had to fill my mother's shoes, like I don't know if I literally don't know if I could be the mother my mom is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I Chelsea and I were talking before the episode about Lady Diana and, this monarchy and, these women who are a lineage, like lineage of who someone is, who was like a saint, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you have a lineage where you don't come from saints. And how do you step out of the shadow? When do you make your own shadow? Mm-hmm. And then, there's this thing that happens, I think, in all of us to where we want to be better. And sometimes if we come from a family where they weren't the best examples, mm-hmm. your shoes may not be the shoes of your parents.
Yeah. Totally.
And I think that that's a tough one also is, and then knowing that there are parts of my, when I think of my parents, they're really tough shoes to fill in one aspect. And in others, I'm like, well, I think I'm going to go down this road for myself.
Totally.
And that can be heartbreaking too.
Yeah.
And also, I think she's thinking of this in context of the conversations that she's had with her mother,
Yeah.
and how they
Yeah.
prepared her to be, as she claims, like a woman of the house, and how she knows to deal with her servants and, you know, deal with the house, but also with her marriage and just with having
Totally.
sex in general, and being prepared for that endeavor, and being prepared with the honesty and forthrightness of your husband.
I think also when they move into the mansion, and the woman that is she's kind of the leader, she kind of takes care of the house and everything, is telling her like that was the previous Duchess, which is Simon's mom. Daphne, you can tell she wants to be the best wife, so she's like, okay, that's like an example that I can follow. That's who Simon loves so much. And I feel like you want to be that for your husband. You want to be like someone that they admire, someone that they look up to, someone that they're proud of, things like that. So I think that she feels not only pressure from, maybe not pressure is the right word, but she's been instilled from her own mom, how to be a good wife and mom and everything, but then also this introduction of who Simon's mom was. And she was, that's why I kind of drew the comparison to Princess Diana, because Princess Diana did a lot for the community and like everyone, and she was very philanthropic, and I think that that's kind of how they're portraying the Simon's mom to be.
Yes.
So then Daphne like goes out, and she doesn't understand why these people aren't accepting her, because of the three pigs. She wants to do the right thing, and
That's a really interesting like place to go into.
Yeah.
I compare it to when you go, if you live in one community and you go into another community and you want to help out in that community, but you're not from there.
Yeah.
you don't know what is like what I guess the good thing to do there would be. And you know, the part where it's the three pigs.
Yep. And she does exactly what she shouldn't have done,
Right.
which is they're all winners.
They're all
Everyone
Yeah.
gets trophies.
Yeah.
When frankly, someone needs a pig slaughtered, people need to get paid and people need
Yes.
to eat.
Yeah.
So once that she asks the question, like, what did I do that made them not like me or accept me? I feel like I did something wrong. And then the woman like explains it to her. She's like, I will fix this immediately. She
Yes.
just is like hyper focused on being the perfect wife, but also like leader or like
Matriarch. Like
the Duchess of Hastings. So
She's trying to really fit into the role.
she is.
I love that. But it also shows the divide between, there's not necessarily a racial divide in this show, but there's very much an economic divide.
Yes.
Yes.
So for her to not understand that people need to eat from the slaughter of this pig, because, you know,
Yeah.
you're a duchess, like all your meals are taken care of. You don't live in this town, in this mud hole, and have to carry your kids around. And when the woman comes and she's like, well, I can't carry the gift that you're giving me, you know, I'll
Yeah.
carry it home
Yeah.
for you. So just understanding and being empathetic to people who have different circumstances than you. I
Yeah.
think I love that she is really trying to tune into that.
Yes, it's about bettering. I mean, what I love about Daphne is she's finding some grace in fucking up.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
She just keeps picking herself up.
Yeah.
She's not super hard on herself either. Like she feels a lot of pressure, but she pivots really quick.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I need to fix this. Let me do it. You know what I also just realized when you were talking about this is you were saying how she probably doesn't see them slaughter anyone. She doesn't know the process behind getting her food. But at the end of this episode, they bring her a baby pig.
Yes.
And right when she's like in her mind about children and everything, but then they bring her the pig.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just was kind of a weird nugget that I.
Well, that's the thing is that it's called opening your eyes.
Yeah.
And I think what's such beautiful, it's beautifully done. It's not in your face. It's not preaching. This show's not preaching at you.
Yeah.
It's giving you little nuggets to be like, wait a second.
Yeah, that you can elaborate on.
Like you can open your eyes.
Yeah.
And Daphne's going outside of her comfort zone. Everyone's opening up these little doorways. But it's also it's doing it in a way where you can reflect or you can simply watch it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like I said, that this episode was nice. It had some really beautiful braids of things that are going on right now today about trying to understand each other. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to understand each other right now. I feel like in this episode, what else is going on in this one? Because this one is
She
besides
finds
sex.
out how children were made.
Oh, that's right.
The biggest.
So that's the aha.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So I think, she realizes that he is not finishing the deed with her. And she kind of starts to get, I think, a little curious as to what that is she's seeing. And then the conversation happens with, was it the housekeeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, it kind of intrigued her a little bit. And then that's when she ran to her maid, right?
Yeah.
And asked, I need to know how our baby's made.
She said, no
Didn't
embarrassment.
Your mom teach you that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and her mom talked about a freaking dog.
Yeah, she's talking about 2 hounds. That's how they do it. Is how
Yeah.
those 2 dogs do it. And then she's trying to talk about how she really loved her. Her mom's trying to explain the love for the father.
It was very.
I mean,
odd.
talk about it confusing for someone who.
I'd be like, dogs. My
What?
parent
Don't eat
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 3 things combined made no sense.
I know.
The eating
Don't
thing
eat.
really confuses me. I'm like,
You know what it is?
I think she was just nervous saying that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I know I'm going to get it on later, I don't want to have
A cheeseburger.
no.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't even
I mean, I
want to be seen
yeah,
naked.
I mean, let's be real, ladies. And I know that, and then you get tired. Like, I want energy.
Yeah.
I'm getting old too. But anyway, we find out that Simon has been he's been keeping it in.
He's an advocate of the pull-out method.
Keeping it out.
Keeping it out, yeah, right? Yeah, pulling it. Yeah.
He's definitely pulling out.
And that face.
She wants to know the science.
Yeah, so she finally gets all the pieces put together for her, and she feels like she has been betrayed.
Yeah. Like he lied to her.
And she figures it out at the end.
He did.
She's like, all right, well, let's figure this one out then.
Yeah.
Take my power back.
Yeah.
I think
And Honey took her power back.
Right, in
And
genuine
she looked
style.
him dead in the eyes while she was doing
Yes,
it too.
she did.
Scared him.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was like, what are you doing? Wait, no.
I think she felt.
I know, right? God, what do you think? Wait.
I mean, they got to such a vulnerable place together, and I think she really trusted him. And I think she was really upset and disappointed that he, lied to her. When someone that you trust fully lies to you, it really hurts.
Yeah, because he always said he can't have children, not he would not have
Yeah.
children. So that is a very
Semantics.
vast difference. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he lied.
Yeah, she speaks the Queen English very well. You have to be specific. And it was just upsetting because he's the one that led her to touching herself. So
Yeah.
how do you lead me to that, but then take me off the cliff with this other part when it involves something that you are personally against? Which is just not fair. You're not giving me a choice.
He also says, like, I thought I was enough for you, which I don't think is very fair. She says, like, that was, like, my dream of dreams is to be a mother, and you took that from me. And he said, well, I thought I was enough for you. She's like, you were enough until I knew you. And now she's basically saying, like, I know the real you, which is really, like, hard to hear, I guess, for him. That would be hard.
Of course, because he never felt enough.
Yeah.
So when you don't feel enough, I think that sometimes you just need someone to just say over and over again, you're enough, you're enough, you're enough. And his father made him believe he wasn't enough.
Yeah. Oh, his dad, terrible.
Oh, and
worst.
he's probably at a point where he doesn't even want to think about, number one, bringing up a child because of the deficit where he came from.
Also, his mom. He's probably terrified of a woman having a baby because of his
Oh
mom.
God,
She could
100%
die.
of losing
that
her.
makes sense. And he didn't even really share that part with her, though.
Yeah. No.
Only the maid
He hasn't shared
it.
much
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah. But conflict and things like that, they bring you closer when you find the root of the problem. I think they're going to get closer.
I agree, and
they're
the
gonna get closer.
and he could get vulnerable because he got vulnerable in front of the queen, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot for people to bring their walls down. For sure. So we'll
And
see.
trust and safety.
Yeah.
You have to feel safe.
You do have to feel safe.
And I'm wondering if it's a thing about his masculinity. Maybe he feels like he doesn't know how to be a father, or he's not capable of being a father. I think he had that conversation with the brother. Did they get enough fight in this episode?
With Anthony?
With Anthony.
With Anthony at the end. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
Well,
But it could
was
be about
the
his
other one?
masculinity. It may be the next one.
I think
It
it's the
might
next
be
I think
one.
it's
Spoiler
when
alert.
they're-
Spoiler alert. I
Yeah.
love it.
But he
But
never had an example of
What
being
is
a
his
father.
issue? Exactly.
Yeah. So he
His
doesn't
father
know.
was so mean to him.
He really
And
didn't
so
have
he
an
feels
example of a
like-
mother
or a
either.
mother either.
No.
Yeah.
So
He
he's
had an
terrified.
idea. Mary.
He's
Yeah.
completely terrified.
Isn't it?
Yes, but I mean, like that. His parents were never his parents.
Yeah, you're right.
It was his aunt, yeah.
Yeah.
Was the only person, well, his mother's friend. It wasn't even actually his aunt.
Yeah.
We get carried away a lot of times with
Lady
the
Dandridge,
idea.
right?
The idea of someone.
Yeah.
He has the
Yes.
idea of who his mother is.
Totally.
And he didn't get close enough to his father. His father didn't let him get close enough to him
Yeah.
to even know each other. So all they did is father immediately was like, you stutter, you killed my wife, done.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I don't
he-
even think he cared that he killed her.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
don't even think he cared that she was dead.
He just wanted to.
I think that was another part of it. The maids sort of articulated that when they
Yeah.
were telling
That's
going
going
to
to be an interesting thing to unfold. I'm really curious about who his father really is and why he is that way.
Do you think I really hope that they dive more into that, into his history?
God, I do
I
too.
really do. I know there's more
Because
We've
nobody wants just an evil father.
Yeah, everyone that's evil too has their own stories and their
Yep.
own traumas. That's crazy. I really hope that they do, because I would love to know more about. We've talked about this
Yeah.
in the earlier reviews of this. Maybe the pressure because he's black and
Yeah.
and they got into this position. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
Shonda, if you're listening,
We
season
need
2,
it.
we need to know a little bit
Yeah.
more.
How much longer do we have to wait?
It's going to be
2 years.
2 years.
2022.
God.
That's horrible.
We're going to be doing podcasts about the podcast, just in waiting for it.
But
just
we
kidding.
can read the books.
We can read the books.
We can.
We can. Well, guys, this was a good episode, because I'll be honest with you, it wasn't one of my favorite episodes, but it was, to me, a good one to reflect on. It was one that had a lot more nuggets in
Yeah.
it than we gave it credit for. Even when we do a pre-talk beforehand, and we were like,
I love
well,
finding
it was a
the
lot of
nuggets.
sex.
I love to see her
Yeah.
coming into her own and taking her power back as a woman.
I liked that
and
too.
not just being like this little girl who just does what everyone says. I'm super intelligent.
Yeah.
But I am taking control of this man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
my
her life.
body and
her
my
life.
body. Opportunity.
Right. And
Yeah.
what I want.
Yeah.
She's been avoiding this nursery, just kind of peeking
Yeah.
in, closing the door.
Let's move on. That's
Yeah,
what she says.
for
yeah.
sure.
Well, speaking of wealthy,
handled
she
that
got
with a
a
lot of
wealth
grace.
of information and sex in this
Yeah,
one.
she
My
did,
God, that was
did.
incredible.
She's
in
probably a
terms of-
pro.
yeah, Jesus. Definitely compared to me right now, I'm like, girl, I gotta get my Bridgerton on. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on.
My Bridgerton.
I gotta get my Bridgerton on. Well, that was
bedroom in Bridgerton.
that was the episode Swish.
Ooh.
Wink, wink. So thank you guys for joining us. We're sending you loads of love. Can you send us some love by clicking that little bell, that like, prescribe. Get a prescription for us with a subscription. Thank you for joining us on the Seraphine podcast. See you later.